capacities were also restricted to archives and stories that have been translated or written about in English. They know many more stories like these exist around the world in thousands of different languages. Women writing history. From humankind's first author to the first digital narrative, women have developed the concept of storytelling since the very beginning. Imagine human civilization without written language, or without any writing at all. It's like imagining the world without the wheel. Writing, like the wheel, has played a fundamental role in shaping the physical infrastructure of human civilization, but it has also enhanced human culture as an art. Literature has taken on the role of conscience, shedding light on the inherent dangers of the day's intellectual or moral hubris through the simple act of storytelling. Yet it took millions of years for letters and numbers to come into existence, and even once the first writing systems developed around 4000 BCE, it took thousands more years for written language to evolve into narrative storytelling. Despite this, there is a known historical account of writing and written storytelling. We know from where and whence language sprung forth from human mouth into hand. There is a first author and first work of literature, a first novelist and first novel. What is often overlooked, however, is the fact that women are at the center of this story. Sometime between 2286 and 2251 BCE, a princess and high priestess of Mesopotamia, humankind's first civilization, became the first author in history. 3,000 years later, between 1001 and 1021 CE in what today is Kyoto, Japan, a Heian courtier invented the form of the novel. In 1818, Mary Shelley published a seminal book that gave the world the literary genre of science fiction. And in 1986, Judy Malloy programmed and wrote the first piece of fiction that lived entirely online, creating the first example of electronic fiction. Enheduanna, circa 2286 to 2251 BCE. Over 4,300 years ago, people living in the world's first civilization, ancient Sumer, part of the Mesopotamian Empire, invented everything from wheeled carts, maps, and irrigation systems to astronomy, a number system, and the 60-minute hour. But in the bustling Sumerian city of today southern Iraq, the high priestess of the moon god Nana was working on her own creation. She inscribed a collection of hymns on a soft clay tablet with a sharpened reed stylus plucked from the watery riverbanks that flanked Sumer's growing cities. In doing so, she knew she was changing the course of human history. In the conclusion, she wrote, "The compiler of the tablets was Enheduanna. My king, something has been created that no one has created before." That something was the concept of authored writing and, in turn, literature. Never before had anyone used cuneiform, mankind's first developed writing system, which had at that point existed for around 900 years, to convey stories, epics, hymns, or poems with the complexity that Enheduanna produced. Previously, cuneiform was used almost solely for tallying trade. Merchants and traders would communicate in cuneiform about their businesses, and priests and priestesses who managed the stores of grain and animals in city temples would use it to keep track of people's offerings. While early narrative writing and religious texts have been found that predate Enheduanna by a few hundred years, nothing compares to the scope of Enheduanna's work. She was the first person in history to incorporate the I into narrative writing, the first person to claim credit for their own work by signing their name, and the first person to fully develop characters with psychological dimension, emotion, and depth. In other words, Enheduanna was the world's first author. Historians know that from 2286 to 2200